There's a ghost outside. He's waiting for a cup of tea. Well, hello, and welcome to a more somber video than normal, because these 4 cars have just gone up for sale as projects. All of these cars were bought as projects with a view to mending them, putting them on the road, of course, where they belong. But it doesn't always work out quite like that, does it? The green 45 there, it's been sat there for ages because it needs welding, and that's expensive. That one dealt with. The 600 is sat there because it needs a catalytic converter and it needs some sort of solution as to why it doesn't start. The 800 works and drives, but it needs all those pipes for the fuel tank. And then the deranged cousin of Nigel is probably one of the closest to going back on the road. It's just that it's going to go as it is, I reckon. Then we have cars that aren't projects that could just be sold, like this one, like that one, and like that one over there. And they're for sale. They've got adverts, but just nobody's bought them yet. So what's next? 4 adverts done today so far. Should I do another one? That's been a rather unusual day so far. It makes me want to just have myself a nice little nap in, Nigel. Can't do that though. I'll wake up and everywhere will be locked up and I won't be able to get out. Well, Benny Jazz Mags, it looks like somebody wants to buy you. That was quick, wasn't it? It's a weird feeling, this. I've had this before, where you put a car up for sale and somebody buys it, but before they buy it, that moment of you still owning it and them not owning it, there's a kind of sensation of regret. I had this with Project George in particular, where I just thought, I don't really want to sell it. And I'm feeling it with that one, which is strange because it was taking me a while to really kind of get into it. But yesterday, when I was driving it, something happened. And it just started to make me feel the same way that my 220 GTI did when I first had that. I finished what I was doing, I went home and I had to nip out to the shop. And I suddenly found myself wishing I had to go a bit further. Having really pulled my finger out today and advertised 5 cars, 4 of them as projects, of course, I just knew that would be the one that would get the interest. And it has. So even if this person tomorrow doesn't come along, which I'm sure she will, I can't see it's going to be here for long. If this car goes, what do I drive then? Nigel? I really do. Something else as well. Would I go back to Alfie? Would I go back to Brian? Would I go back to Max? Now there's a choice. If the car does go tomorrow and it's genuinely gone, then I shall do a video of which car I'm going to use every day from the rest of the following month. And I know which one it is already, but you don't. Anyway, yesterday I did make a secondary film on the way back from Rover Revival, which was about how the ZR actually drives compared to the 25. I've done one before. I've done very, very similar before. And being as it might be the end of the experience with this car, I'm going to put that on this video right now. MG ZR 120. So far, the driving experience of this for me has been a little bit uncomfortable. Suspension hard, 17-inch wheels, unforgiving, steering rack not very tight, and the bucket seats, I quite like them. All of these things would be nice on a racetrack, but on rutty, bouncy roads that haven't been repaired properly, not so. The roads around where I live are astonishingly terrible. You think of a bad road and then that road should be transported off to a third world country somewhere where it would be considered acceptable. But here it's not. But somehow it is, because it's all we're used to. Just driving along with these roads that bounce and jiggle your bones inside out and ruin your suspension. And that's where I find myself enjoying the Rover 25 over the MGZR, because the suspension is much more suitable for the kind of horrible roads that you have to drive on. And being as that's all I ever do is just drive on horrible roads for short distances, why would I want rock hard suspension? Well, I'm going to drive the ZR with much more excitement than what I have done normally today, and see what it's like then. I did exactly the same kind of video a couple of months back in my yellow ZR called Project Kev. But the difference is that was an older model with a 1.4 engine and 14-inch steel wheels. This is a 1.8 and it's a facelift and it has 17-inch alloys. First thing I'd like to say is the 1.8 doesn't feel that much quicker than the 1.4 when you actually gun it. When you just drive it quite gently, it feels a lot quicker. But when you rev it, it doesn't have that exciting bit near the top of the rev range where suddenly it goes a bit daft. So far, these are the kind of speeds that I happily do along in my Rover 25. So no change there, and now we're back into a 30, so there's no need for any kind of GTI nonsense. You should just be driving normally and sensibly with consideration for other road users. The thing about this car though is it does feel quite exciting and it looks rather vivid, and it is an occasion to drive it, but you really do need to be driving along these kind of good country roads to appreciate it. Otherwise, having a bumpy ride is an inconvenience. You don't need to be pushing it hard for it to go quite quickly though, that's the thing. You can keep it at relatively low revs and it just picks up really quickly, which is kind of nice, because it means you can go quickly without loads and loads of effort. But then, doesn't that go against the whole idea of the GTI hot hatch type car though? You want it to be quite quick, but then you want it to rev and get lots of extra power at the end, so you get another reward for all of your hard work. And now, of course, I'm stuck behind a tractor. And while stuck behind a tractor, you may as well be comfortable. That's third gear, and just planting up the hill. That works really well actually. Pulls really strongly up here. And it's almost got enough torque to carry on going in fifth gear all the way to the top. Well, it has, there we go, it's managed it. Well done. Well done, ZR. Have yourself a pat on the back. Going uphill is always much more fun than going down in a car like this, because gravity is applicable to any vehicle. You don't need anything powerful or exciting for gravity to be doing its job. Going up, on the other hand, is a different matter. The only good test for going down is for your brakes, and well, this seems to work okay. Yeah, they're fine. The steering is much better on the ZR than the 25 for doing this kind of driving. When you're back in the gravel car park or trying to do a U-turn, then obviously the 25 is a bit better, but you simply don't need to have such a good lock when you're going quickly along bendy roads. And that is the end of that rather exciting video. Thank you. Looking over the yellow bonnet, you will know I'm going home in Nigel. Driving home in Nigel's almost like a victory of something, an accomplishment, and it's good. The only thing is, it does feel a bit slow after Benny Jazz Mags. Time to admit something. This morning I was feeling a bit down in the dumps about things because of mountain bills and the like, and that spurred me on to get some stuff up for sale, namely cars. I wasn't really in a rush to sell Benny Jazz Mags just yet, because quite simply the tax hasn't even come out on it yet. There's £24 I think it is for a month, or about 130 miles, whichever comes first. It's sold tomorrow, and I'm confident enough to just put it away as if it's not even my car. Then that will cover that. But that's not the end of it, because I also did adverts for 4 cars, 4 projects in all, and 2 of those I have now marked as pending. So that is one big turnaround for the day. So I'm going to finish the day off with this. So you know Benny Jazz Mags is going. But what about the other 2 cars? Which 2 cars are they? Well, you just have to keep watching to find out. Do you know what you really wouldn't expect next if I was to just do that?